Hey everyone, Lior is here. Another Jumpstart Lightning episode, a fun one with Inbal talking to me about all things Video Indexer. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Lior is here. Another Jumpstart Lightning episode. I have Inbal with me from the Video Indexer team. Inbal, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Leo.
You know, I've been waiting to talk to you, obviously, fellow Israeli, and we're here talking about Video Indexer today. And before we're going to start nerding out on all these cool topics, I know that you have a lot of cool things to show me today. Who you are, what is it that you do?
So, as you mentioned, my name is Inbal Sagiv, and my role is responsibility on Azure AI Video Indexer. I'm leading the product management team.
Inbal, give me a bit of background on Video Indexer. I was in Israel last month and we met and we said that there's definitely an opportunity to do one of these episodes, and here we are. And when I started looking and diving deeper into the world of Video Indexer, I was fascinated by it. And I wanted to ask you, just give me a bit of background. Like, what's the deal with Video Indexer?
So Video Indexer started as a startup, actually based here in Israel. It was developed 8 years ago as a cloud solution, and last year it was expanded also to be an edge solution that basically runs everywhere on top of Arc. So with that context, and if you'll give me the time, I'll show you some cool stuff that we're doing.
Hey, of course.
Awesome. So as you can see, and as I mentioned, Azure AI Video Indexer now part of the Arc extensibility model, and that will be my focus for today. I'll show you a quick overview of the product, what it's all about, and then show you some models and explain about the functionality. We'll talk about 3 different use cases, and I promise to end up with a nice demo.
I'm loving it.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you've been here in Israel, and I remember some of our talks, Lior. So for everybody to understand in one line what it's all about, think about it as you have a video library, and in that video library, you have tons of videos that are being recorded over time. So VI is a tool for you to upload those videos and be able to truly understand what's the content of that video based on more than 30 different AI's model, runs both on cloud and on edge. And what you basically see here in the screen is a screenshot of our portal offering. You see a player, right? So, you see an insight.
Inbal, I want to ask you, as I'm seeing this, right?
Yeah.
Would it be a fair assumption to say that Video Indexer is really about contextualizing the video feed that I'm seeing, like putting basically more intelligence around that video and not just me watching a video?
That's exactly what it does. It helps you to truly understand what's the content of your video. And with the set of the different AIs that you have a single API endpoint that you upload that video. And out of that, you'll get everything there. Like, what are the scenes? What are the topics that are being discussed? What are the labels there? Emotions. Some of the capabilities are gated, like has a limited access due to responsible AI, but some of them are available for everybody. It doesn't matter what's the use case.
Got it. Okay.
And with that in mind, we basically have 3 options. People used to see the portal Video Indexer and think, hey, I don't want your out-of-the-box solutions. How can I really integrate that with my offering as a customer? So the main persona that we are targeting for is video analyst, and that video analyst has 3 options to integrate with Azure AI Video Indexer. One of them is to use the low to no code solution with the portal. It's a web-based experience that you basically can just try it out. And then there is also an option of what we call widgets, which are web components that you can just take and plug that into your own application. Like, hey, I can take the player itself and embed that with my own application. Yeah, that's really cool. Or I can just take the inside part and use my own player and just integrate the insights part. So it's kind of components that you can play and integrate with. And of course, last one is what most of our customers are doing is to use the set of the APIs that we have.
Got it.
And you don't need, the cool thing here is, and let me emphasize it one more time, you don't need API per AI. Like, there is no API for topics, API for translation extract, API for scene detection, everything under a single API endpoint.
Yeah. So it's basically the different ways to consume Video Indexer as a platform, as a framework, but for you to actually embed this in your own solutions as you're developing those, right?
Exactly, exactly. It's
Okay.
more of a solution that is built on foundation layer of separate AIs.
Got
So
it.
we are kind of an aggregation point. The
Hmm.
flow works as following. You have on the left side, you can see that we have the option to extract the insights. You basically have an upload process. You upload a file or several files at the same time. And
Hmm.
then you can edit some of the settings. It really depends if you need the audio, if you need the video, if you need both. You can explore the transcription, and you can search on top of your library, like, hey, show me all the places in the video where I can see tree, or where a specific word is being mentioned. So that's one. Then you can also edit the content. Let's say that you have some names that were not translated correctly. So you may want to make some fixes and filter the insights. So
Hmm.
it's also thing that you can do. And last one is you can take it and share it with more people. And I'm not referring to share it in your social media, not this kind of sharing, but more of share the content between some people that works on the same file, or you can take the widgets, the web components that I mentioned,
Yeah.
and maybe embed it with your own application. That's
So
the
this is
thing
not
that you can
this
do.
is not like your grandmother Instagram, basically. That's what you're telling me. Yeah.
Exactly. You couldn't
Okay.
summarize it
You know,
better than I.
I gotta tell you, as I'm looking at this, I gotta share with you kind of an anecdote or a story, some observation that I have. I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, I a lot of the influence that I have, the way that I'm kind of thinking about design and thinking about stuff is like 80s cartoons. That's like TV shows that I used to watch as a kid, and I'm thinking to myself, when I'm thinking about Video Indexer, I'm thinking, what if I had that in the 90s when I used to watch those videos when I went to Blockbuster or the local video store, and being able to filter all these videos that I used to watch. And specifically, I used to watch a lot He-Man. I don't know if you remember that show, and kind of filter and search for all the parts where Skeletor is. Like, that's kind of the I know I'm just kind of nerding out, but I'm just thinking about this, and it's such a cool thing. And I know that you guys have a lot of advanced use cases that you guys are using it. Not my dumb '80s cartoon anecdote. So,
You just
but yeah,
gave a great example, because Video Indexer originally was targeted for media and entertainment. So
yeah,
people tend to think that, hey, that's more for the Netflix and Disney of the world.
yeah,
It's for them, but not only. We see a lot of new industries are using that product in the last 3 years, I would
yeah,
say. Education, universities, law enforcement type of scenarios, remote
yeah.
hearing type of scenarios. Even the UNITA, the United Nations, are using Azure AI Video Indexer really for AI for goods use cases. So we
Interesting.
also do things which are good for humanity, for content moderation, for example.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, I'm not going to talk about the components of Azure AI Video Indexer, but I'll focus on the part which supported the edge type of scenarios and which is
Yeah.
enabled by Arc, if that makes sense.
Of
So
course.
I really like this diagram because it shows the components within that product. So let me try
Hmm.
to describe what we currently have.
Hmm.
Um, Video Indexer, that's the resource that allows you to go to Azure portal and basically create an Azure AI Video Indexer account. On
Hmm.
top of the Azure Video Indexer account, you can basically create multiple extensions, Arc-enabled extensions, and each extension can be deployed on an Arc Kubernetes cluster. And that's the nice thing that you can do from a control plane perspective. You go to Azure Arc, you create your own extension, and everything is hosted under a single Video Indexer account. And
Hmm.
what do I mean by that Arc-enabled service extension of Video Indexer? Today, it supports recorded files. We are planning also to expand it to live. I don't have the ETA yet, so don't ask me about ETAs, but it's planned on our radar. We support both audio files and video files. And then we have the indexing service that basically does the processing. It handles the upload and it runs the multiple AI that we have behind the scenes. The AIs can be either basic, we call it basic video AIs. It contains scene detections and OCR. I'll speak about it in a minute, but it also contains audio, basic set of audio AIs. You can run them together or separated. And we also allow you to bring your own custom AI model. And here we hear customers that say, hey, look, I have my own license plate detection, or I have my own fruit detections or specific car types detections, and I want to bring that into the pipeline. How can I easily do that within a single AI pipeline? So that's the bring your own capability that we have. As long as you adhere to our own schema, then you can integrate any open source, any external AI. And very soon, and I'm giving you here a heads up, very soon we will announce also at Build the expansion of a small language model that will be integrated here. So think about Phi 3, for example, where you can do also video summarizations with the enrichments of Phi 3, but that's coming up in the next month. And on top of it, we have the widgets, we have the web portal experience, we have the API, we have search capabilities. Search is available only at the cloud at the moment. And there's a free trial experience that you can try that product in general. There are some transformations capabilities, just to close the diagram, that are available only on the cloud, like redaction of faces, like editing of a video, like encoding, but that's not a focus of this discussion.
And I think that, Inbal, you touched on, you gave a couple of Easter eggs there for use cases, right? You talked about potentially fruit detection, so that's the retail space, and you also talked about car detection, which is, I would say, more like the safety kind of industry, or security, or however you want to call that. So I think that it's really interesting to think about those use cases, and especially in the context of the Arc enabled portion, which is really translate to the edge location of where Video Indexer is deployed. And I think that what pops here is the use case on putting this type of workload close to the hardware that is actually specified in, or specifically know how to process these type of videos, right? We're talking about GPUs, we're talking about AI models, which are usually very intensive. And I know that you also mentioned, the small language model, like we mentioned Pi 3, which we announced literally just, I believe it was this week.
Right.
And these are the things that kind of makes me think about Arc enabled video indexer as a way to put that processing API on closer to the videos, right? So that's just kind of how I'm thinking about this as I'm looking at this diagram.
And you summarize it really nicely. What we were hearing from customers along the years is feedback that says, dear Microsoft, you have great product that aggregates multiple AIs on the cloud. Nice. What about running the same product at the edge? Because we cannot really send all the content to the cloud due to multiple reasons, right? Like data regulations, restrictions,
Right.
security, latency.
Mm-hmm.
And what we decided to do is basically to port the same capabilities, to land the same capabilities. Of course, not everything. Like we never took the pipeline of faces that we have on the cloud and pour that to the edge. It doesn't make any sense for multiple reasons. But at least from a messaging perspective, we have the same product, the same underlying layer, with almost the same set of AI capabilities. And everything that we do from now on is both cloud and edge. We don't want to confuse the customers with message. For cloud, use this. For the edge, use that. Doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense.
I understand.
So
And
this
you
is why
mentioned
we
the
switched that.
language models. So, and I know that you have like a view of those language models. It's a very cool view of all those language models. So
That's correct. That's correct. And it's exactly what I want to show with that slide. So I'm not going to scan everything, but
yeah,
the whole idea of this diagram is to show the rich set of AIs that we have, both for vision and for audio. Some of these AIs are basically considered as an input for other AIs. It means that this is the multimodal approach that we have
yeah,
for the AIs. That some of the output is used as an input for other AIs. So with that, we get a more rich and accurate AI output for each and every model that you see here. Of course, you can decide to exclude some of the AIs. Don't get it wrong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can decide to run the entire pipeline for the vision, but to exclude labels and OCR because you just don't need that. For VI enabled by Arc for our Edge offering, then these are only the AIs which are available, those that are in kind of pink here. And this is what we start with based on the customer scenarios. We're currently focusing, as you mentioned, retail, procurement, as well as modern safety type of scenarios that can be relevant across different industries. And we are growing with the feedback. I mean, we are really looking to get more customer feedback and to see if they have a need for additional AIs. We are absolutely open to port more and more AIs. For example, I was hearing already use cases about language identification and speaker diarization. We are willing to port more of the AIs. We just need more customer feedback. And don't forget what I said about bring your own. It's key because what we see on edge scenarios, maybe unlike cloud scenarios, where it comes to on-prem, customer has a very fine-tuned set of AIs that they want to run. So it's pluggable and it's very open system.
And I think that one thing in Inbal that is obvious out of this deck is you see the white space. And that to me means opportunities to growth. So that's the,
Absolutely.
kind of looking at the glass half full, I don't know, half empty. Depends on how you look at it. But yes, definitely shows.
That's true.
Yeah.
And most of the AIs, just to say a point here, are CPU based, not GPU based. So that's the requirement of the hardware, which is currently required. We are going also to optimize that with time, but that's the baseline that we currently have for the public preview version of VI enabled by Arc. And the question that we always get is, hey guys, that's really nice. That's a big thing. What can I really do with that? So let me give you 3 examples, and we've discussed on some of them, but let me walk you through this.
Sure.
So you see here a screenshot of a nice guy. His name is Leo Kamrat. I think you know him, right?
Shameless plug.
It was tough to find this one. But one of the things that we are hearing is that customer has their own video library. They did not necessarily eligible to put everything on the cloud for multiple reasons. Like IP videos that they want to keep for retail and procurement type of processes, some educational materials for gov and defense. They don't want to share that and put that on the cloud. So these type of customers look at VI as a solution for them to really do a better video accessibility, get the accurate transcription and translation, and added that. And also add some captions, as you can see in this example.
Yeah.
And it's also a common use case that we have on the cloud, but it's exactly the same thing that we do. And with that, you have a very lean set of AIs that you can achieve with basic audio analysis. Now, the second one is post-event analysis, basically to improve mainly employee safety and mainly a security type of scenario. So you see here a screenshot which is taken from the outside area of a specific hospital. And here they have a scenarios where in some hours of the day, they don't want to have any cars in this area. It has to be free. So you see here, it's not for live video analysis, but they want to check over time, how many exceptions do they have? Because it's allowed to enter to this area, but only for exceptions. So they want to check, hey, it's really over time. Is it like 1, 2, 3 cars? Or I have like 10 examples of cars which are being detected as an exception in that area. And then maybe I need to think about the way that I'm planning this area in the hospital. Right. So these kind of scenarios are also good for post-event analyses, mainly for post-event analyses with object detection and also with OCR, because in this example of the hospital, there are many cameras. So the text that you see on the left side of the screen shows the exact camera. So the OCR helps to tie between the extracted insights, and the camera itself. So here the customer is using the combination of OCR and some of the classes that are part of our object detection, such as cars.
Okay.
Another use case, yeah,
You know,
if
and
you have
just
questions.
one thing that I wanted to share with you as you're talking about this, and I think it's also relevant to the third use case, but something that really popped out of the first two use cases here is that, in recent episodes of Jumpstart Lighting, we've been having a lot of conversation regarding the importance of the data that is coming from the edge. And in the past, without these technologies, especially for edge-related scenarios, it was very hard to extract data out of intelligence that is coming from a video feed, right? You can have all
Yeah,
the cameras that you want, you can have all the the sensors and all of that, but without being able, and that's why I said contextualizing, without being able to contextualize the data that is coming from those feeds, right, and actually get business intelligence out of this data. You mentioned the fact that they want to understand if there are exceptions, right? We're talking about the hospital use case. These are use cases that in the past were not possible without these technologies. And I just want to amplify the importance of the extraction of the data out of these type of use cases.
that's correct. And some people are telling me, hey, look, but we don't really need Microsoft just to be able to detect a car in a video, right?
Right.
But the good thing here is, A, you have the same product that can do the same thing on the cloud and at the edge with the same logic behind that. And you
Hmm.
have the combination of multiple AIs, which is the nice thing here. It's
Yeah.
not just to do the car detection, right? It's also the combination of the OCR within the same API endpoint.
Yeah.
So it's really like cost effective if you think
I love
about
it.
it. All right, the last use case is where you have your own logic. For example, in a supermarket, you want to be able to optimize queues over time and maybe to check for the best cashier that you have in the supermarket because she can handle multiple people simultaneously. So you
Hmm.
want to do it, for example, one per day, like to check the time that people spent in the queue. So here it's an example of something that Microsoft won't do, right? Like you can't expect the Microsoft to deliver specific AIs for time in queue. But if
Hmm.
you have a supermarket and you have your own logic, so you can integrate that within the solution and really do analysis of some efficiency parameters over time. And that was
Yeah.
just one example. There are
Yeah.
multiple
Not a
examples
great
for,
example. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so let's just move now for the interesting part, which is the demo.
Yeah.
Um, let me stay in the area of the supermarket. And the use case that I want to run together
Sure.
is where you have three different stores. Each store of the supermarket has different scenarios. One scenario, you would like to analyze both video and audio, as you can see in the left side of the screen.
Hmm.
Another scenario is where you basically want only to analyze videos and to be able to also connect a specific AI model to that.
Hmm.
And the third use case is where you would like only to analyze the audio of a video. So for that, I've created already a VI enabled account. I go to Azure Arc. I go to Kubernetes clusters. I choose one of the clusters here, go to the extension area. I click on Add, Azure AI Arc enabled video indexer extension, click on Create, connect it to the Kubernetes cluster. I give it a nice name. I put in here the endpoint of the cluster. I click on create and it's basically done. Then you have the video indexer with the indication that that's a hybrid account. It contains three different extensions, as you can see in the left side of the screen. I choose one of them and you see only one of the AIs here, which is scene detection, shot and keyframe. It's part of the same AI. But
Hmm.
that's only one of the extension, and now you can go per scene and explore that. You also have the timeline. You can enable the OCR and
Hmm.
learn about the signs in that supermarket. Then the other extension is for the parking area. Here you wanted to run object detection and really calculate the cars. And the third one is where you want to analyze the time in queue. That's a completely different scenarios. So we basically moved between three different extensions.
Right.
And on the last one, which is a custom one, we enable a flow where we bring an external AI for that for that particular use case. And you see here an example, how does it work from the portal. That's exactly what I was referring to. And if I'll select one of the videos and that comes from a completely different area, then you see how it looks like. On the left side, I have the player. On the right side, I have the different insights. And the way it works from the API is basically we are generating, I can download a JSON file. I can then parse the different JSON file. And the way it looks like is that we have under the videos, the different set of the AIs that we are extracting. So you see here OCR, transcript, language, the different source language. So that's the response of the API. That's the beauty, that you basically get all the different insights that you have.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and the way that we recommend to start with, and I think you also know that part as well,
Another
is to
shameless
go
plug.
is to go and explore that from the Jumpstart scenarios.
Yeah.
Azure AI Video Indexer enabled by Arc is under the Arc Edge and IoT. And if I want to explore more, you'll see here that there is a interesting other scenarios, but there is a dedicated one for Azure AI Indexer enabled by Arc that explain exactly how to deploy a video indexer on top of AKS Edge Essential with a single node and with a multiple nodes.
Yeah. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Thank you so much, Inbal, for such a great presentation. This is I would dare to say that this is really revolutionary in the way that we're approaching this. And when you showed that JSON, the term that I had in my head was video as code. Because when you look at these videos, and again, I'll keep saying the same thing, which is around the data and the things that you can extract out of those videos, and the edge use cases, especially the one that you gave on the supermarket, like the amount of insights that you get out of a video feed is just remarkable, or multiple video feed is just remarkable. And this is really where and how we're talking about the importance of taking the data and create legit business intelligence out of video feeds, out of other sources of data, which in the past were just not easy to produce. So I'm loving it. Thank you so much, Inbal, for joining me for this Jumpstart Lightning episode. For the Jumpstart viewers, thank you so much for watching. Again, like, subscribe, follow for more cool conversations like this one that I just had with Inbal. And we're going to see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.